All right, welcome back to the channel. Just wanted to give a short review on the Jet bandsaw. It's a 14-inch Deluxe Pro that I got about a year ago. I've used it quite a bit and just wanted to show you some of the pros and cons that I've seen, or really mostly pros, but some of the things that I've had to tweak during the process of the setup and the constant wear and use of the Jet bandsaw. So we'll get into it right now. The bandsaw resaw is actually 12.25 inches from the base or the table up to the top of the blade. And as far as the depth that you could resaw, it's 13.5. Not sure where they get the 14 inches from, but that being said, I have sawn about 10 inches on this, and once I got the blade set accurately, then it was good to go. And it would saw with a 1/4-inch blade, it would saw with a 3/4-inch blade, 3/8, 1/2 inch. I've tried all three or all four blades, and resawing with them is perfect, if not close to it. So that being said, you have a good 12 inches by 13.5 to mess with if you're going to be cutting logs or something like that to make your boards out of, and it works great. The main thing I have found out with the resawing to make sure that your blade is perfectly straight and tensioned correctly. The Wood Whisperer has a good setup. It's a quick setup, but I used his channel to actually set my blade and my rollers and everything like that. I used his channel. It's about 15 minutes long. Goes through the process of setup, but you want to make sure that your platform is perpendicular to your blade. And to get that, I like to drop down about 1.5 inches inside the cavity and rest my square up against the blade. And if I'm touching from top to bottom, then I know that my resawing is going to be very accurate. And it took me a little time to do that, to get it right. I was cutting boards with a little bit of wave in the blade because I didn't understand. There's a adjustment screw right down here that you get your deck level or your base level, and just make sure that your blade is perfectly square all the way up top to bottom. And I like to drop it down so I can see where the bearing is down below to make sure that I'm perfectly square all the way through my cut. Now, whether it's right or wrong, I don't know, but the tensioner here, I release the tension on the blade when I'm not using it. I'm not a full-time woodworker or nothing like that, so I release the tension on the blade every time I don't use it, because this past year the rubber on the wheels have loosened up, and it's caused a little divot in the wheels because the tension just stays on that one spot for a long period of time. So if you do have one, just remember to, well, I say you have one. I loosen mine up, the tension on it, because I don't use it every day. And I have turned it on, and it spins around and it sounds like the blade's gonna fly off and hit you and everything like that. It doesn't, but you just gotta remember before you plug it in and turn it on to reset your tension on your blade. It'll give the tires on your wheels a lot longer longevity, something like that. Anyway, set your tension before you turn it on, basically. This is a 1 1/4 horsepower motor, and it is very strong. It actually dims the lights a little bit when I first turn it on in my shop because I'm running on a 40 amp breaker throughout the whole shop. I don't have it on the 220 or nothing like that, or 230. So this is it's plug and play at 115, but it draws the power down right off the bat. Never tripped a breaker, but it does flicker the lights a little bit when I turn it on, but it's very strong. I've never bogged down anything, and it'll cut right through it. So it's a very strong motor. There's one thing on this tensioner here that tensions your blade that I'm not too fond of. The knob, when you turn it, it is a little difficult. It's awkward because it's right there at the top, so you can't get a good grip on it when you're tensioning. Right there. Could be a little bit longer to provide you a little bit more capability of turning it and getting your tension set. But if I had a con, that would be one of them. It's not a big deal though. You can still set your tension properly. And the gauges on your blades is pretty accurate. You got a 1/4 inch, 3/8, 1/8, 1/2 inch, 3/4. So it does work pretty good. It's just, if it were maybe a 1/2 inch longer, it would give you a little bit more hand support there. So one con. What I was talking about with the loosening the tension while you're not using it, these rubber tires have slipped a little bit off the rim every once in a while. They still work pretty good, but I think by just loosening the tension on it, I could have it could have still been real tight against the wheels. I found that the blade was rubbing inside on this track for a while, even with the tension and everything set correctly. But there's a screw here and a screw at the bottom that you can take and just lightly loosen it up, and you can move these back and forth to get your blade tracking perfectly center inside your guard here. The storage at the bottom is where I store all my blades. I did put a couple of earth magnets on the door so I could hold the tools, the little Allen keys that adjust your bearings and stuff like that. But there's plenty of storage for all your blades to go into. I do have a Craig jig fixture that I put on here that I sometimes store in there also, or it just lays on the table next to it. But plenty of storage for all the blades that you're going to need. And yeah, works pretty good. The Craig jig bandsaw fence was an additional cost to the bandsaw. Can't remember what it cost, but as far as it goes, it's very square, accurate. It guides pretty well. If you're resawing large items, it doesn't resaw very well because it's not tall enough. I do attach a board to it if I'm resawing anything over about 6 inches. So, but it still keeps it square, and it's accurate. Overall, the jet bandsaw, I have no complaints over. The blades are about $20 to $25 a piece. The construction of it is very durable. Again, I don't use it daily, but I use it enough to give a good review on it. A little bit of constructive criticism, but not enough to turn me away from recommending this bandsaw to anyone. I'm not paid by nobody, but it is kind of pricey, but I felt like the extra $400 that I was going to spend on this rather than something with a 6-inch throat and a smaller area to pass wood through, it was worth it. I saved up a little extra. I had a couple of more side jobs that I did that made a little extra money, and I waited until I got the one that I wanted. So all in all, I think I made a good choice on the bandsaw. And it's all up to you to decide what you want. All in all, I think this is one of the better ones on the market right now. I haven't ran and tested all of them. I haven't ran and tested but 2 actually. I've had a Craftsman and then this one. So I'm not a judge of all bandsaws. I think as long as they fit your needs and it works for you, this one fits my needs very well, and it works for me. So I'm just gonna leave it at that, and we're gonna resaw a couple of things and show you how well it works. All right, here we go. It's about 1 1/8. About 1 1/8 of an inch thick. Six and a quarter, and it's 20 1/4 long. We're just gonna run it right at a 1/2 inch. Watch the lights. Resaw's pretty good. The thickness of the blade is about 1/8. Saws very well. If you look down at each end, it's about 7/16, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and 1/2 inch. So the fence will cause it at the top to sway a little bit. So if I had a higher fence, it would work better. So because you can apply a constant pressure all the way through your cut at a higher end. So it's a 1/2 inch, 1/2, 1.5, and just a hair under a half. So it's good to go. Thanks for watching.